All right, let's talk weather as we head into the Halloween weekend. Looks to be kind of chilly. That's usually the case. If we have a warm October, right around Halloween is kind of a pivotal point where fall really starts to win the battle. And just about a week and a half ago, we were dealing with temperatures in the upper 80s, a few spots in the 90s, but that is long gone. We will not have a 90-degree reading for quite some time, probably until next May. So, with that in mind, chilly Halloween, frost for some, and we are looking dry at least through Saturday. A lot of uncertainty with respect to next week. Thursday, high temperatures going to be in the 50s across much of the state, perhaps some 60-degree readings to the south. A lot of cloud cover. It will be breezy at times as well. That'll be the case as this cooler air begins to filter in. Speaking of cooler air, how about Friday morning? Yeah, look at that. 32 in Gadsden, 33 in Huntsville. We say this a lot. Models aren't the answer key by any means, but they do give us an idea. And most models have been teetering in that upper 30s to low 40s range. I think if skies are clear, I think if winds are calm, radiational cooling should allow us to be cold. Now, our rain totals have been so here. Some of the influential factors do have a bearing on how much water's in the ground. There hasn't really been a whole lot. Even earlier this week, yes, we had some beneficial rain on Sunday into Monday, but the totals are not, I don't think, enough to have a big influence on the surface moisture. And what all that to say is I think we will be chilly on Friday morning. Potential frost advisory will be needed for much of the state. Friday afternoon, this is Halloween. We could be looking at temperatures easily in the 60s at some point in the afternoon. But here's the deal: clear skies, light winds. This is going to cool off quickly. We're going to be in the low 50s, perhaps upper 40s for a lot of trick-or-treaters across the state. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to be out and about with the kiddos, I will be. So trying to encourage those warmer costumes here as we head into the weekend. All right, speaking of, so Halloween comes to an end. Then we enter November, right? Can you believe that? Already into November. And November is usually the month where we really solidify the fact that, okay, we're in a much colder air mass, and you'll start to see those bigger drops. Average first freeze for a lot of northern Alabama is around November 9th. A bit later, if you head down into the Wiregrass, a little bit closer to mid to late November. Either way, the story late in the weekend is going to be, do we have the potential for rain? So this is a look at the GFS model, okay? If you've watched us, meteorologists, all across the country, we use different models. We use ensembles. What I'm showing is an individual model run. I'll say this: the ensembles are still very different, and ensembles several runs kind of averaged out to give us an overall thinking idea of the weather, and they're completely different model to model. So this is Sunday at 3 o'clock on the GFS, showing some soaking rains on areas south of US 80. That would include Monroeville, Evergreen, extending down towards Andalusia, really straight down to the coast, just north of Pensacola, Atmore, Crestview. So we're going to, see some big differences here when I show the other model. This has a cold core low spinning really over the southeast, and this would bring about really chilly rain. Nothing severe. Cold core lows don't have that type of weather associated with it, but these can be a very, very tricky thing to forecast. So either way, we'll have this out of here, it looks like, according to this model, by Tuesday. And then the story will be sunny skies, pleasant conditions towards the middle of next week. All right, enter the European model. Sometimes this is considered a more reliable model. This does not have the trough getting down to us, that cold core low sitting right over top of Alabama down to the Gulf Coast. Matter of fact, that trough axis goes to, probably about the Tennessee Valley. And then this has a little bit of a spin in the upper levels to give some rain again to southern Alabama. So if you live in the southern half of the state, better bet that we see rain regardless of the scenario here. It's the northern half of Alabama that we're still kind of curious about, and we'll have to wait and see as things unfold. Much less aggressive with respect to the rain with the Euros. So all that collectively, the WPC, they put out their average here over the next 7 days, and boy, this could be vastly different. But what you're seeing here is kind of a fair representation of what I just showed you. Down here, closer to the coast, you're looking at closer to an inch. Okay, you get up here near US 80 from Demopolis over to Auburn, down to Columbus. Those totals much closer to a quarter of an inch. Then you get up here in the shoals. That's a hundredth, tenth of an inch up there near Fayette, north of Gadsden, tenth of an inch. So big difference. I would say keep plans as you have them for now. These things in November can be really tricky, especially when you talk about a sort of cutoff low, if that is what we get here. So again, I've no issue saying there's some uncertainty next week, and we will obviously dial this in as we get closer. All right, let's talk tropics here. Melissa's been obviously what it is. It's moving through the Bahamas as of Wednesday evening. We're going to focus on kind of the forecast here, so this stays fresh for folks. This will be likely the last time it's a any threat of being a major hurricane. It's probably going to weaken. It'll accelerate off to the north very quickly. It's often tough for a hurricane, a tropical system, to intensify when it's moving really quickly. The slower motion gives it, better potential to grow vertically, to restabilize and get that center structure. But it's going to move very quickly off to the North Atlantic, and hopefully this is the last time it's any threat to land. It could graze Bermuda, at least cause some storm surge issues here by Halloween. So hey, outside of that, we are quiet. No storms expected, and that's kind of on par for this time of year. I love this map. Tells us where we are. We're approaching the beginning of November, and we start to see a really big drop off beginning October. See another pretty big drop off in November, and once we get to the middle of this month, hurricanes are huge outliers. Tropical storms, huge outliers. Of course, we've had seasons where that's not been the case, but based off the ongoing pattern, I'm not overly concerned. We'll always have to watch the Caribbean and the Gulf this time of year. Those are relatively shallow water basins compared to the Atlantic. Sometimes they stay a little bit warmer, a little bit longer into the year. So we'll watch, but again, no immediate concerns with respect to that. So that's looks your Halloween weekend, tropics, everything else you need to know. We'll have another update as we find out more about next week's system. Y'all have a great day.